the quote from Meister Eckhart that I've been really dwelling on and meditating on this year is a quote that goes like this, and you can write this down if you want. If not, this is recorded, so it doesn't matter. But the quote is: theologians of the world may quarrel, but the mystics speak the same language. Something like that. Maybe I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's the quote. So, what is this? Okay, so theologians of the world may quarrel, but the mystics are speaking a language that is universally the same. Question: what is a mystic? What is a mystic? Because this is something that I talk about a lot. I say it very frequently. And a lot of times I think that I just assume that my audience knows what this means, but that might not be the case all the time. So if maybe you are familiar with this term, mystic or mysticism, but if you're not, I'm going to share a little bit about it because I think for whatever reason, I'm just feeling led to bring some clarity to what this word actually is and what it means. Now, I know for me growing up, um, I was very unfamiliar with this word. And growing up as a Christian fundamentalist, any kind of word or any kind of idea or anything that was outside of the confines of the Bible was deemed as unbiblical, especially if it had to do with anything that had to do with spirituality. So, a term like mysticism or even like meditation sometimes, depending on the context, it would automatically be almost like rejected and demonized and like, that's out there. That's not in the Bible. That's not according to God's word. And so, it's not something we should be looking into or learning about. But believe it or not, I didn't know this at the time growing up, but believe it or not, that term mystic or mysticism, which by the way just means mystery, is actually a word that we find in the Greek New Testament scriptures. It's the Greek word mysterion, which I think Paul uses like 20 something times, 27 times, 28 times, something like that throughout his letters. Um, and so the word mysticism is not like a, woo woo word. No, it just simply means mystery. And mysticism is ancient, and we find it in just about all of the traditions of the world. And, the way I look at it, the way I understand it, is a mystic is someone who directly experiences God beyond the mind, beyond the headspace. So that's it. That's the simple, to me, that's the simple understanding. That's the simple definition. A mystic is someone who experiences God directly. And it's this experiential knowledge that transcends the finite mind and intellectual knowledge. Now, when someone experiences God directly, and this experience is something that is going beyond the mind, what happens is the person has this encounter, this transformation that they typically can't explain in words or ideas or anything that can be generated from the mind. But it's this sense, this presence of ineffable bliss and love and peace that surpasses all understanding. And what Meister Eckhart, I believe, what he was actually talking about when he wrote this was if you take a mystic from the Christian tradition or from the Hindu tradition or the Taoist tradition or the Buddhist tradition and you get them together, what happens is there is no debate, there is no arguments, there is no division because they're speaking the same language in the sense of they're experiencing God the same universally because they've gone past this dualistic consciousness and trying to decide who's right, who's wrong, who has correct theology, who has the correct philosophy or doctrines or dogmas. All these things that are on the level of the headspace that tend to divide us, those things evaporate. And now there's just beings that are being together And they're recognizing that there is this divine presence that is inherently within each and every person and within everything. And if we can move past the head space into the heart space, we can be with one another in love and experience that divine presence that transcends words, it transcends theologies, it transcends doctrines and philosophies and who's got the right this or that. No, it's just we move past that. And now we're shifting into unity consciousness. Okay. Now we're in this state of oneness. And this is when we are actually experiencing reality. This is reality, oneness, the unity of being. And this is something, again, that we find throughout all these different mystical and contemplative traditions. So, for me personally, I made this shift a few years ago. I was deep into theology. And if you're into theology, that's fine. There's a time and a place for that. But it doesn't end with that. It doesn't end with you thinking that you can figure God out in your headspace because you can't. A finite mind can never understand or know a God who is infinite. Okay. Richard Rohr said this. He said, and this is going back to, again, mysticism simply means mystery. Richard Rohr, who is a Franciscan friar, he said, a mystery is not something that you cannot understand. A mystery is something that you can understand endlessly. Okay. It's something that you can understand endlessly. It's infinite. It goes beyond a limited, finite mind. And when we come together and we're meditating and we're simply being with one another, we're not here to debate. We're not here to argue. We're not here to like talk about, who's got the right doctrines. No, we're just being with one another. We're experiencing this underlying universal divine presence that is fundamentally the essence of our being. And from this place, from living from this place, we experience healing. What do you know? We experience miracles, manifestation, transformation. Why? Because we're living from this place that Jesus talks about that is within us, that is rivers of living water. Okay. That's where we're keeping our awareness. And it really is a beautiful thing. It brings us together. So, yeah, I just felt led to share that. This is something, like I said, that I've been just contemplating and meditating on for about a year now. And the more I go in this direction of mysticism, which is more of unlearning than learning, it's more of unknowing than knowing, the more this divine inherent peace starts to overtake my being. And it's an experiential knowing. And I feel like each and every day I'm becoming more and more filled with this infinite love. And each and every day, I'm starting to sense the divine presence in ways that before I couldn't. And so, obviously, right now, there's a lot of division in us versus them on the level of the mind, on the level of, the headspace, the ego. But we have the power, we have the ability to transcend that. How? Well, we just did it through meditation. Meditation is the method that takes us into the heart space so that we can experience ultimate reality, what Paul Tillich called the ground of being. And in this place, everything changes. In this place, we see what is, we are fully here now, and we have the opportunity to rewrite the script of our lives. And because this place of pure being, this place of oneness, this place of love, this place of the divine, that's behind the intellectual, analytical, dualistic mind is infinite potential. Okay. It's infinite potential. This is where miracles happen. This is where everything changes. And as mystics, as ones who are interested in directly experiencing God within us, we have the opportunity to make this a lifestyle, not just a practice, but a lifestyle.